introduce yourself and how you got started in the industry?
Yeah, so I'm originally from Chile, South America. I've been living in Sweden for 48 years. So I came as a kid. Live in Stockholm, family, wife, kids. Being consultant for 2 years, but been in the industry for 25 years plus. The longest time was at Ericsson for 16 years. A bit split between tech and IT management. And currently I am at Telenor, a telecom company in Sweden, spread out also. They have head offices in Norway. And here I started as basically as a coach for 2 juniors that later on will be hired, basically. And then I moved over to Scrum Master, and now I'm doing the product owner role.
Amazing. Lovely. So our first proper question is, how do juniors embrace errors as opportunities for improvement?
Yeah, I think this is a very close to heart topic for me. I see a lot of teams and in previous roles where you take in resources and they are kind of scared the first day to do errors. And in the teams that I'm involved in, we try to change that a lot to, of course, they can't, break down systems that are in production, but you basically give them an isolated environment, some servers, and then you tell them, go. You have to configure and install this server, for example. And at the beginning, they are a bit skeptic that if they are allowed to, do that installation, or what if there are any errors. But we have seen in the team that the kind of expansion of learning is much more dramatically in a positive way if you give the new coming resources a freedom to make errors. We do catch up the errors and discuss about them, how you could kind of mitigate those problems, and then later on you see new errors. So we try to move away from that errors is something negative, and try to work with pedagogics to make sure that you build a kind of a comfort zone around the fact that you will anyhow do errors. So the big difference is for the arriving persons is that either you hide your errors and you go around stressed in the corridors because you get a bit paranoid that when will they find out I made an error, and you move that to have an open discussion about that we will make errors, all of us. So let's have that open culture and environment that you show the errors and we discuss them, how to mitigate them, instead of having this kind of blame game of who did the faulty things. So yeah, I think that has been very fruitful, that work, and it has in the juniors we have in our team, it has made them more relaxed and they grow much quicker and have a better opportunity to embed also self-lead and take responsibilities, because if you have this kind of scare thought about the errors, it causes stress and you get a bit distance from the team because you don't want somebody to find out that you did an error. So I think it's quite interesting approach, because by doing that you can attract resources and work with them so that they feel comfortable, and they're gonna have a much stronger commitment to their work, in my view, if you allow errors.
What practical tips can junior members use to manage stress and avoid burnout?
I think that as a junior, despite of your age, you come in kind of a very positive and energetic into a role. And it's quite easy to get drawn into that you sit on the evenings, on the weekends. You become your work. You remove all your spare time. I think I understand why that is being done. I did it myself in previous career, but the day has only 24 hours, and I think that you have to see your career and journey as something that you're going to have to relate to and live throughout your life. And that means that if you push it too much, especially in the beginning or in the middle, you're not going to have the energy at kind of also the end of your journey, which means that I basically encourage people that either juniors or people that moves area, that they isolate a bit their work, that they emphasize to be very kind of focused and do a lot of work during the work hours, but they actually step off the work when it's time to do that, and that they enrich their spare time. Because in this industry, like IT and the one area that I work in, DevOps, it never ends. You can always learn more. And it can cause stress, not only among the juniors, but the rest of the staff, even the seniors, that it comes new technologies, ways of working change. So the truth is that it's a never story, and you need to distance a bit from that, and by enriching your spare time and just cut off your work thinking, I think that's a kind of a balance that you have to take serious, because I think some of the burnouts that happens is because you're on work adrenaline the whole time, and it might affect that you can't even sleep well because you're thinking about the job. So the recommendation is to be a bit more square in that way of thinking, that you give yourself to work during the work hours, but the spare time is yours privately. And you need to shield that so that you have a good balance in life.
How can juniors appreciate the journey and set realistic expectations for their development?
I think this one has to do to break up your kind of career as if it would be more of a project, and that you celebrate the small steps. Because if you look at that, you're having a championship and part of the World Olympics, you're always going to be disappointed because each training, each sub part or competition you do might fail. So my suggestion is that you see the journey as such as the challenge, not the kind of end goal. I think that's more the strongest tips, that take baby steps. And really celebrate and be happy with yourself for those steps, because otherwise you always struggle to reach that castle with the end goal, and it can't end up that your work life is a little bit miserable because you will always hunt that trophy that maybe is 5 years away or 10 years away. And that can be quite challenging mentally, to think like, okay, so I have a goal, it's 10 years away. And if you avoid this celebration or feeling good for yourself for these pop steps, it's quite long journey, and it can move from joyful to painful. So have fun, challenge yourself, but celebrate the kind of the steps. Each step that you make progress.
Yeah, definitely. And do you feel that also plays into, focusing on the smaller wins, and the journey plays into the fact of reducing stress and burnout as well?
I think so, because if you celebrate the small steps, mentally wise, you kind of can fool your brain in a way that you know that you have a longer journey. But if you split it up, I think there is a study that even if you would be sad, if you smile, the body and the mind will align to that, and it's gonna kick in some effect in your body, you could say, which can sound a bit paradox in a way. And I think it's the same with the smaller steps, that if you have a way of looking at that, I did this 1 month's work and it went very well, then you don't need to currently focus on that long step, you could say.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I think definitely if you look at on this smaller step and you scope them into that, it might reduce your stress for the longer goal.